The purpose of this podcast or for these videos basically is to have the type of conversations that I don't think young people are allowed to have in today's day and age. Mostly because every time you want to have some of these conversations, people say that you're either too young, you're not an expert, you are not yet experienced enough. But I was raised to believe that preparation is better than cure, and I would rather have the conversation when I don't need to have it, other than waiting until I absolutely need to have the conversation in order to have that conversation. So, welcome to the podcast, and yeah, get ready for some uncomfortable conversations.
All right. Recently, USA had to cut off most of its aid that was given to Uganda because of the bill that was passed as a law. What's your take on that?
Basically, the anti-gay bill that basically punishes gay people to like life imprisonment and all of those things. So I think in order to understand that bill, you need to first understand why Africans are so against gay people. And basically, I don't think Africans are against gay people. I think Africans are against gay culture. And now the reason why Africans are against gay culture is because it clashes a lot with gay people. It clashes a lot with African culture. Because let me give you a scenario. In the African traditional society, if you were to get married, one, you would have to go to the bride's place, meet her parents, introduce yourself, make your intentions known. Once you've made your intentions known, then come the proceedings. One of the very first proceedings that happens, and this may vary depending on the culture you're in and depending on the tribe, but one of the most common proceedings is the introduction. And in this introduction, bride price is exchanged from the man's family to the woman's family. The challenge with the gay community is if you have two men getting married, which family receives bride price? So if you can answer that for the African society, maybe you would be able to get some headway. And that is just one of the points. How do you reconcile who receives what bride price and how much bride price is to be received? Because you're no longer dealing with a man and a woman, you're dealing with a man and a man, a woman and a woman. Then, and that is just the traditional side of things. Then there is the idea of whose legacy is pushed forward. In an African home, when you get married, ideally you take on your husband's last name, and the children tend to take on names from the husband's side of the family. Not in all scenarios, but in the vast majority of scenarios. Now, the challenge comes in is if you are two men living together and you're married in an African society, first and foremost, it is impossible for the two of you to continue your legacies combined because you cannot have children. And when I say that, I mean that if you are two men married together, if you want to have kids, you have to involve a woman. You have to bring a woman into that family. Now, if you and this woman have children, your partner, the man that you're married to, is basically adopting these kids because he has no blood relation to them. So it does not basically connect as easily as it would if it was just a man and woman. And if you were to look down the lineage, if you were to look at the bloodline of this child, when they DNA test this child 10 years down the road, they will only find traces of you and the woman with which you had the child. They would never find traces of any other man. So even in nature, your union would never be recognized. And so you'd have to also explain that to the African society in order to understand, in order to find some meaningful understanding as to why they should accept the gay community. Secondly, Africans are very religious people. We are incredibly religious. We love Jesus like nothing. And that is evident in the number of churches that exist in this country and all across Africa. And so, in order for you to actually then make the argument for gay marriage, you'd have to show Africans where in the Bible does it say, or where in the Quran does it say that two men, two women can get married. And so in America, marriage is two people getting together and that's it. In the African society, it is two families getting together and building from that. Because of the level of involvement that your families have in your marriage, they actually have a very big stake in your marriage succeeding. So your marriage has to be, one, traditionally blessed, two, blessed also by God, and then three, recognized by the law, in order for you to say that you're properly married in the African society. If you cannot, the third thing can be changed, laws can be changed, but African tradition can't be changed, and neither can religion. And so until gay people have the ability to explain to the African society how to do a gay traditional marriage and how to do a gay marriage in the house of God without breaking any sins and without provoking any type of backlash, I don't think they're going to make a lot of headway in the African society. So the question is, how should Africa handle its relationships with the Western powers concerning the LGBTQ society? Now, I have no personal opinion on this, but I do have a few thoughts. It's an either or type of situation. It's either you fully give in and allow the LGBTQ society to step into the African continent and risk losing all of your traditions, all of your beliefs, all of your cultures, risk losing the family unit as it is right now, or you stand your ground as a continent. I don't know. I don't think my opinion matters in this situation because I might be biased. And the reason why I'm biased is because of how I was raised. I was raised in a Christian home, Christian beliefs, and all of those things. But there do come risks with holding our ground and standing our ground. You might lose funding for a lot of projects. You might lose donors. You might lose favor with a lot of Western powers. And as a continent, you might end up in a situation where you're by yourself. But if that is an area that we can maneuver, which I think we can, it is one option. As far as what the backlash might be in this world, there eventually comes a time where you might have to put either put your morals aside and take the check, or stand your ground and say goodbye to a lot of money. So I don't think I am in any position to make this decision for Africa. I think Africa is in a position to make this decision for itself. So I do believe that the decision will be made, but it will be made by the people. So all I can say is good luck.